What's up guys, Americana back here with another video. Today we're going to be getting into why price is the most important indicator in crypto. Okay? If you don't understand what price is telling you, you are not going to make it in this bull market. Sorry. And you won't make it in the bear either, especially the bear market. It's not about indicators, it's not about Twitter calls, it is always about price. What is price telling you? Price is the ultimate truth teller in the market. And it is screaming at you loudly if you know how to listen, okay? Economist Thomas Sowell once said that prices are information, right? Prices are information about supply and demand. Very basic economic principles, but I'm telling you, there is so much information to be had within the price. In crypto, this is going to be the ultimate edge. This is going to be the ultimate conviction for you to understand what is happening and when in the market. Prices tell you absolutely everything. Who's winning, who's losing, do buyers have control over the market, do sellers have control over the market? So let's break it down in this video. All right, guys, so we are on a weekly Bitcoin chart. We're going to be reviewing this bear market here first. So obviously each one of these candles is 1 week's worth of price action. So very simply put, when we are trending down, okay, sellers are in control of the market. There are more sellers, there's more demand to sell for whatever reason, right? For the reason of people are scared, for the reason of this person sold, so I'm gonna sell. So for the reason of this news is scary, so I'm gonna sell. For the reason of, hey, I bought way back here and price is dipping more than I'd like it to, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of it. I'll come back in the market later. Right? There's plenty of reasons for people to sell, but the point of this is that when price is trending down, this is because there is a higher demand to sell than there is to buy, right? I would consider people selling in these dips to not be hodlers, right? They're not very experienced in crypto, or they're very, very experienced and have coins from way back that they are willing to sell at these prices, right? But anyways, price is dropping because the demand to sell outweighs the demand to buy. People are scared to buy because price has dropped. Is it going to continue dropping? The news is scary, all types of stuff, like I said, right? But vice versa, when price is rising, the demand to buy is much higher. Sorry, let me fix that up. The demand to buy is much higher than the demand to sell, okay? So what this looks like sentiment-wise is, oh my goodness, Bitcoin has reclaimed this area. I don't think it's going to drop again. I really need to get in before it's too late. So that's the buying demand. Or the news has been so good for Bitcoin. There's ETFs coming soon. There's this, there's that. All types of stuff, right? So the demand is going to be higher for buying. Or just simple price action is, hey, I saw it go up for this person. They made money. I want to make money too. I'm going to hop in, right? And the demand to sell came back substantially, right? Because people are saying, oh, this coin has reversed. This coin is going up again. I'm going to hold on to it as long as I can. I don't wish to sell any more than I need to because in 3 months, price might be higher, right? There's high buy-side demand, okay? So this is what causes these two trends, right? This red box on the left side and this green box on the right side, right? These are the sentiments, the news, all types of stuff, but it really just boils down to the demand to sell and the demand to buy, okay? So let's break down somewhat of a full cycle now that you guys have this understanding, okay? These crashes in 2022, like I said, were not random, okay? As much as you might see the news, right? This is like war in Ukraine area, things like that. The war in Ukraine did not push the price of Bitcoin down, okay? You could even argue that liquidity did not push the price of Bitcoin down. I would say it had an effect on it because people are forced to allocate funds elsewhere. But no matter what you look at outside of the fact, the only real truth is that people had more demand to sell than they had to buy, whether they were scared, whether they needed to allocate funds elsewhere, whatever, right? It comes down to the supply and demand, or the demand and the demand aspects that I talked about, right? So aggressive sellers in this whole red area, aggressive sellers we're overpowering weak buyers. People who, I don't know if I should put that much money. It's kind of dropping. I'll take a stab here. Ooh, I'm down 50%. Let me get out as well, right? Okay, so that's all going on in here, okay? But there's a substantial concept in here that you guys need to understand, right? At some point, this has to invert. How does it invert? What causes it to invert? Okay? And that is going to be our glorious people we have down here called hodlers, right? If you don't know what hodl means, it means hold on for dear life. And these are people who have experience in crypto, have been in crypto a while, and they understand that, hey, one day price is going to reverse. I don't care. It'll get there eventually, right? So these are the opposite of weak sellers. These are the opposite of, weak hands, strong sellers, right? These are very weak sellers. It would take a substantial amount of news or a substantial price drop for them to be like, ooh, maybe I'll let go of some of my coins, right? So what happens down here is that even though price is dropping, okay, even though price has dropped drastically, I'll draw it right here, right? Our demand to sell has kind of declined, right? People are like, I'm already down 80%. I'm already down 90%. I'll hold it to zero. I don't care, right? Everybody who is scared of losing money has exited the market already. Everybody who is fearful has exited the market, right? And what happens is that even if we still have weak buyers, right? Even if we still have weak buyers, okay? Price will begin to stabilize, okay? Price will begin to move sideways, okay? For a period of time, okay? This is where a lot of smart money jumps in as well. So using my SBS system, you'd have been allocating heavy funds during this time. But this is where a lot of weak demand comes in as well, but also weak sell side demand. It's not very volatile. Price kind of just moves sideways and people are looking at the market like, well, crypto's dead. I'm already down 80%, whatever. Like, I don't care. This could go to zero. I'm not even going to pay attention to it. I'm just going to go enjoy some time with family, or I'm going to go touch some grass, whatever, right? I'll come back. God knows how long, right? And that kind of happens. And once again, like I said, we'll have those weak sellers kind of remain. But eventually, whether it's news or large amounts of smart money, right? High conviction buyers say, wait a second, this asset's kind of beat up. This asset's kind of cheap right now. I think I should buy some. This historically has gone up and it's just sitting here sideways for the taking. I'm going to step in and buy some, okay? And now what do we have? What dynamic do we have, right? Something similar to this, where the demand to buy outweighs the demand to sell. Price reverses, all right? And then we get into this kind of demand structure that I was talking about, where people are like, well, I have to buy now. It's up. I gotta buy. I might miss out. I gotta buy this dip. I gotta buy this dip. I don't want to sell because in 5 months it might be higher. Look, it's gone up for the last 8 months. It might continue going up, right? And this cycle just repeats over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, this is very important to understand the hidden information within price. Okay, very, very, very essential to understand, not from necessarily a position of you're not exactly going to be able to time the market, right? You have to be rather experienced to time the market based on just price information and sentiment alone. Luckily for you, if you're in the Discord, I got you. I've been through 2 cycles. I know what it looks like, okay? But it's going to help for your conviction, because when price does end up reversing, you'll know, boom, dude, we're out. We're in the clear. Demand just came in. I know in the future this is going to lead to more weak selling and even higher demand. I'm not going to sell on any dip, because guess what? There's bad news here, there's bad news here, there's bad news here, there's bad news here, right? And that's all people trying to snatch your Bitcoin from underneath you, okay? They're trying to get you to sell. You held through all this, but that little dip got you because the news was so bad. The news was so intense, right? And it ends up just working itself out, okay? So if you can understand when there's high sell side demand, when there's high buy side demand, when they're kind of equal and price is moving flat, you can kind of look to what to expect in the future, right? That is why this stuff is so important. You're going to stop reacting emotionally and start anticipating things much more intelligently. All right, so that is going to wrap up this video. I put together a free PDF guide on these exact steps, pretty much on the exact system that I used to make sure I'm allocating funds during these times that we just talked about, right? No indicators, no guesswork, no crazy technical analysis, just a very straightforward system to help you build your long-term crypto portfolio. If you guys would like that, go ahead and click the link in my bio to my website, right? Plenty of educational content on there for you to download, as well as signing up for the free Discord. The educational content might be in the Discord, I'm not quite sure, but if you guys want to check that out, learn more about my philosophy. Okay, I try to take a very economic approach to this. I'm an economist, right? I do have a finance background as well, but I think the economics aspect of this market gets overlooked immensely, and I use it as my edge. Okay, but anyways, that is it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and drop them. Don't forget to follow my IG, and I'll see you guys in the next one.